Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And everyone breathe. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Rivercity 93. I'm your host, as always, Elliot Barr. And today, after a long, much-waited, longingly anticipated, the Kickers have a home win. That feels great. And also, Kate makes her return to the podcast after boycotting. I think literally, Kate, your last appearance is our last home win, so I blame you for this.
That's my bad, guys.
You know,
and the voice is back. And what you wouldn't believe is actually my voice has been really normal after every Kickers game because there hasn't been much to scream about either. So there is, I guess, a direct correlation between Kickers wins and me sounding like this.
What an absolute load of crap. Not been allowed for you to yell about at Kickers games for 4 months. I've stood near you, ma'am. I've heard you yell.
My vocal cords have not yet done this. It's been months.
Okay. Okay.
Oh man. Oh man, I miss this. And also joining us on the show is Mr. Matt Myers. How are you guys doing? I mean, I'm pretty sure it was a lot easier to wake up this morning not having to begrudge doing a podcast or like reliving the bad soccer. It's actually good to do a podcast on some good soccer for once.
Never begrudged the opportunity to talk to you guys. I don't know
I mean,
how you feel about this. Like, I enjoy speaking to the people. I'm a man of the people here.
Yeah, so I'm not saying I'm a man of the people, man. It was getting dark. Like, I think on Wednesday, like, there was no happiness in my eyes. It was just darkness.
No, I'm prepared to take full credit for all the good that happened because I invested in a Darwin jersey. Just broke it out on Saturday.
I did see that.
They win, so you're welcome, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take donations to continue to, add to my already way too big, Kickers jersey collection.
Yep. And now that the future is brighter, there's never been a better time to get your pair of blue light lenses from Sonder, which I am currently wearing at this moment. Podcasts are a visual medium.
Yeah, there you go.
And these will protect my eyes from the iPads that every coaching staff uses on the sidelines. That is putting blue light directly into Red Army's eyes, and for the incredibly bright future that this Richmond Kickers team has ahead of it starting yesterday.
Or if you're the One Knox coach, you just scribble some notes on a piece of paper and then walk yourself to the sub bench beside me while I'm taking photos, and then just be like, hey, I need you to do this, and mark him very loudly into my ear. And I'm just like, oh, this is awkward.
You know what else is awkward? You know what else is awkward?
What?
Being an absolute coward and not taking pictures of their notes.
I should have. I didn't even think about that at the time. I did not think about that.
I did the work. I took a picture of Lexington's notes. And you know what the note had? It was a picture of the 6-yard box with a single dot inside it. Their notes for their striker were, get in the 6.
Stand here.
I mean, fairness kind of worked for them.
So to anyone who's currently figuring out a tactical setup against Lexington, their plan for the striker is for them to be near the goal.
Bold
choice there, Cotton. Bold choice there. Real quick, if you haven't already, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Give us a like on YouTube, share with a friend. Help us get to 100 subscribers on YouTube. And if you want to donate to the podcast, that'd be greatly appreciated. You can do so at rivercity93.com/donate. But guys, we are here. I mean, it's kind of been a weird week. I want to say weird, but Wednesday we play One Knox. Saturday we play One Knox. 2 totally different games. And I'm so glad that we ended on Saturday with a win, because if we would have lost on Saturday, this would have became a college football podcast. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. Like, I was not gonna talk about this team when we would have lost.
Will did promise to get arrested if they lost, so we have saved at least one member of Red Army from incarceration.
That's not good. That's not good.
My college team got Knoxville, this week. We're down playing Wake Forest. We're up 1-0 at halftime. Oh, there's lightning. It got rain out. So now the game just canceled.
Oh, that sucks.
I'm getting Knoxville everywhere.
Look at this slippery slope that Knoxville has started.
I still stand in the belief that the state of Tennessee is cursed for the kickers because every game we have played there this year has been affected by like biblical type rain. It's absurd. It's absurd. But yeah, I mean, let's start off with Wednesday game. Quite frankly, even when I did the post game, review show, which by the way, that post game show I think lasted all of 7 minutes. Like, it was not good.
And they sent out the kids, which was kind of crazy. They trotted out teenagers to face the press.
To be honest with you, I could not tell you who I interviewed.
It was James and Griffin.
Yeah, okay. I'm glad you know. Because I couldn't tell you. Because I was there, but I wasn't there. Like,
I couldn't believe that, like the vibes, especially after, the week before, and then to bring out like 2 kids. I mean, maybe they volunteered, maybe like, I don't know, but that was a little crazy to me.
Yeah, no, I mean, the game on Wednesday was not good. I think my biggest complaint was just the amount of space, the ineffectiveness of the pressing. Like, it just seemed like nobody was on the same page. And One Knox, I mean, they are a very simple team. They are going to get the ball wide, cross it in, and they're going to keep doing that. Like, it's pretty much like the plan of just throw the ball into the big man and let him have fun with it inside the paint. And Richmond just did not know how to deal with that.
Thankfully, even though goalie is like 6 foot, 50, the only one he was able to finish was literally from like 6 inches away from goal. That dude should have had at least a first half hat trick.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he did have that bad miss. What was it? Our striker had that.
You're gonna need to narrow it down because he had more than one bad miss.
Oh, yeah, that was a calamitous game because the one that he scored, I swear, I don't know if that ball was out or not, but it seemed very close to it. Got in, and then he had one that was like what? It reminded me of like Fernando Torres. Or no. Yeah, was it Fernando Torres? Who just like got the yips when at Chelsea and just missed wide open nets. Like, that was a bad miss. Yeah, he had a couple of others. I mean, let's simply put, Wednesday, 2-0 is being considerate to the kickers. That game should have ended like 5-0.
Which is funny because Darren said in the post game that he thought 2-0 flattered Knoxville. So,
yeah,
someone who truly cannot either admit what he sees on the field or is truly seeing something the rest of us are not.
But yeah, you know what though? Let's give a big shout out to Marcelo Lodge. Not for the reason you think right now. But homeboy decided to, show off, to Knoxville. Hey, y'all got a good football team down there. Let me show you what I got. Just wrestles a guy down in stoppage time and gives James Sneddon the chance to change the momentum of the season right in that moment.
So I want to say this. I told James this after the game. He is the first goalkeeper under Darren to save a PK shot in regular time. He like actual saving, because I know the game before the player just missed it. James counted as a save, but he's the first one to actually save a shot. Before then, no one ever saved one. So once again, this is reminiscent to what happened last year where James got thrown in for the Spokane game and we went on that magical run and snuck into the playoffs. I'm with it.
And you know when that was? The last game of August.
It was.
You know what just happened? The last game of August.
Oh, so
if you like trend lines, if you like stuff like that, and if you believe in momentum, I can genuinely make a case of if we end up in the playoffs, we could look back at what should have been a throwaway penalty in the 95th minute of a game that was already lost as the turning point of the season.
Yeah.
Also, Knoxville's absolute cowards. Apparently, my word of the day. Because it's the 95th minute, you're up 2-0. If there's ever a time to let your keeper take a penalty, nut up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're like,
Mm-hmm.
I ain't gonna lie. Like, if anyone saw me on Wednesday, I apologize that the light behind my eyes was off. I think I told Justin, I was like, just how bad the game was going. I was like, all right, at this point, it's time to just start playing Rocky Top. Like, it was just not.
Well, and 3 of them were fighting over who was going to take it too, which was also crazy. Like, it's the 95th minute, it's this throwaway penalty, and they have the audacity to be fighting in front of section over who's going to have the honor to take this penalty, and then the guy who does end up taking it misses. So, just embarrassing for them all around, really.
Yeah, I don't know if y'all heard it, but did y'all hear Snedden's response to me when I asked him, like, what did he see on that or anything? He was like, yeah, if I got to tell you, I got to kill you. And I was like, okay.
It's like, that serious then.
Nice to know that Snedden has, a little crazy switch there.
You're just like, okay.
It's like, all right, there you go. But yeah, like, I think the less said about Wednesday, the better. Is to me, there's been some bad performances. This is probably the worst of the mix, just because one, I couldn't tell you what the tactic was supposed to be or what the formation was. Like, it seemed like half of the team was doing one thing and the other half of the team was doing their own thing. It looked very disjointed, and it felt reminiscent of the Tormenta game where we made mistakes that benefited the other team. Like, it's not like they beat us, we beat ourselves once again. And then we just didn't have any effort going forward. Like, because Wednesday, I remember a big talking point everyone was talking about was Darren making the 5 subs at like the 60, 65th minute. And that's something like, and granted, there's been a lot of conversation about Darren's sub patterns. For him to sub on 5 people at that time and not be like, oh, I'm going to save one here, save one there, things had hit rock bottom at that moment.
I mean, I feel like the tactic and the shape is pretty obviously just classic mid-20s kickers, your standard. That was about as basic as ever, and I think Knoxville kind of figured that out and just played through it like everybody else does.
Yeah.
But then it was different on Saturday.
It
and
was.
Guess what? That kind of threw them off a little bit, and the team, at least defensively, looked a lot more sound.
Mm-hmm.
It did.
Yeah, it was almost like a reverse where, for some reason, he brought on 3 defenders, 4 defensive-minded players in one substitution, and then started with all the defenders in the second game. Like, we were actually discussing, like, do we even have anyone on the bench who can come in the back line? We landed on just Guy and Maxey, which, when you think about, we actually brought on more defensive substitutions in one match, like the previous one, than we even had options this one, which, I mean, I guess that it paid off because they kept a clean sheet, but I wouldn't say the team looked considerably better going forward. The goal came off a set piece, and there weren't a huge amount outside of earning corner kicks kind of that went on.
You don't need more than that, though. Like, this team has shown throughout the year that there's one area that they're consistently at worst above average in, if not outright good at, and that's offensive set pieces. Like, everywhere else on the field, there's been issues at times, to be kind, I think.
Yeah.
Right. But pretty consistently, we've been able to find whether it's Dak, or whether it's Chandler, or now it's Marcelo, or Kirkland found some Clyde, guys have been able to convert off of corners or free kicks and stuff like that. So if that's what this team needs to do to be able to win, is like pack it in the defense, have 5 defenders on the field, have 2 more defensive minded midfielders there, and be able to just kind of ugly it up. Like, all right, we're not in prom season right now. We're not trying to look our best at the moment. We're past beach season at this point. We're on kind of load up season right now, and let's do that. Play for some corners, play for some free kicks. Okay, maybe there'll be a stray open play chance, but that's what it takes to get this team over the line. Fine. Like, we saw the formula work this time of year last year of, hey, all of a sudden let's play ugly, let's play in a way that's sensible. We started actually getting clean sheets, which 2 of the last 4 games now we've gotten clean sheets. And if this is a pattern, let's follow the pattern until somebody shows that they can actually take advantage of it off of us.
Yeah. And I mean, the other thing too is like the kickers this year have looked their best when they've been direct and actually like been aggressive being direct. The kickers have looked their worst when they have a bunch of time on the ball and they have to think. Like like Matt said, like play into your strengths and do that best.
Yeah, I definitely think set pieces have worked, but I'm on Fat Mob right now, and of the last 9 matches, we've only scored in 3. So you're getting more set pieces than that. It can't be you score once every 3 games off a set piece.
Oh, yeah, no.
So that's more what's the frustrating part is like be good at set pieces, but either actually convert more regularly than 1 every 3 matches.
Yeah.
Because they've shut out fully in like 6 of the last 9, which is just like you assume you get a couple corners in there, then like then is the service really that's where the freezing Maxi was frozen out for a good decent part of that. He's one of our best set piece takers. So like there's also a correlation there when you take out one of the players who's delivering the best balls into the box most consistently and you have an ego issue with him and all of a sudden the goals dry up for 6 straight matches. Like it's
but also we have Simon taking corners and they're working, so it doesn't have to be the guys that we expect to be taking them. It's what's being effective in the moment. And the flip side of that is the last 9 matches, giving up goals in 7 of them, and if we're leaking goals, this definitely isn't going to work. Like it probably wouldn't work with grinding out 0-0s and the stray 1-0, but it definitely doesn't work if we're bleeding multiple goals. So I think you got to shore that piece up first. And like it could be like Charlotte last year where we get a gift of a goal for Joao, or it could be situation where Darwin or Bill Hart or somebody just is able to unleash a rocket from 25 yards out, which we've seen them be able to do in the past. Or maybe one of these days the ref will stop making Emmy pay his penance for 2022 and actually blow the whistle when he falls down.
The refs have Emmy in like the gulag right now. Like they're like, hey, you get gut check Emmy like blatantly, and it's like, like I still think about like now, it probably wouldn't change anything. But Wednesday when Skeleton like he more or less shoved Emmy in the box, and the ref was like, get up. I'm like, oh, these refs, there's word out on Emmy. There's
it's definitely been a time delay like APB out on his head.
Yeah, like it's crazy. I'm like, wow, all right. Like he does get 1. Like, okay, all right. But yeah, the other good thing, and the other good thing from Saturday's game that I was really impressed with was just the whole team. If you go back and look at Wednesday game, we talk about how just Georgia's Day looked. Everyone looked very, 1, bought in, and then 2, looked to be on the same page. Because there were multiple times like people were just closing out people, making it very tough. Like there's a stretch, I can't remember the exact minute in the second half, but there's a stretch where the One Knox player on the right is constantly cutting in and he's looking for a shot. And there's like Neil stepping up, and then there's Clyde stepping up, and there's another place up. It just constantly cutting off windows for him.
Yeah, they'd get every player back in the box on corner kicks. Yeah. There was not even a single player who wasn't back in the box on every single corner.
Right. Yeah. And they made it very difficult. And also, like, I know people have their opinions of Becca Howe and James Stanton and Griffin Garnett. And have the criticism been fair in moments this year? Yes, 100%. But to be honest with you, those 3 in this game were probably I would say your best three performers because Beckett on the left side did an amazing job of stifling and just being decisive, like just clearing balls up. Griffin looked good in his passing because the thing in the back three that I've realized is that you have to be a lot more aggressive with the passing than in a back two because you're more or less like the fullback because the wingback is so high up. You have to be very aggressive, and he was good in that. And then Jason, I mean, some of the saves that he was making, especially the one in the second half, the one that was kind of like um, point blank at him, was very good and whatnot. And I mean, like, yeah, like give credit where due. Like those three really stepped up. The team defensively did a great job of stifling One Knox, making it very tough for them to get clear shots on goal. Even with the amount of crosses they were doing, like they were going to get. I think what they had 3 shots on target, and every one of them, either James Tanner made a good save or the defense made it to where Static can just once again, Matt, I know you're gonna love this. Do the Akira fall of getting it in his chest and just falling on top of the ball and just taking like 3 or 5 seconds off the clock.
I think the bigger thing for me with James was, okay, yeah, he had I think two saves that really kind of stand out.
Mm-hmm.
Strong fists on the ball each time, like we've seen that be an issue before where he makes contact but not like fully clean contact
Yeah,
with it. But more than anything else, like they didn't look outstanding because he positioned himself in a spot where it didn't have to look outstanding. They were basically ended up being right at him, and he just had to get his hands up to give a solid punch away.
yeah,
It's not like he had to you kind of go with the flying save, which might have been a better highlight reel moment, but might not have been as effective because who knows where the rebound goes in that case. He was able to control punch away for corner usually, and I think that's kind of a good next step because we've seen him. All right, he's gotten better, coming out, for grabbing crosses and everything, and he's always been willing to throw his body at the ball and kind of scraps. But I think the next step is getting the positioning straight, so that way the saves don't need to be amazing. It's kind of going back to what we'd always see from Akira back in the days. Like he'd stack up a lot of different stats. There wouldn't
yeah,
be many like saves of the week because the defense was arranged in a way to entice slow rollers and low
mm,
quality shots, and then Kira was just in the right spot. That this game on Saturday reminded me a lot more of that
yeah,
than anything else.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's getting back to what the kickers do well. Kate, my fault. You can
Oh
go.
no, you're good. Yeah, I was about to say because I think James he's a great instinctual shot stopper, and I do think to a certain extent he's a little better in the air because he kind of gifted Knox's second goal to them on Wednesday. Like he kind of bobbled the save and it fell straight to the striker's feet, and he just put it away, which was disappointing because he actually wasn't under pressure when the ball came in, but he kind of bobbled it as it was coming down, and he fell and kind of didn't actually collect the ball, and it went straight to the striker. So it was better to see. I think the saves that he made were either straight out of the air, and he made sure to get the ball away from the goal. Like there wasn't the kind of like try to collect it and lead to a mistake, but just get the ball as far away from the goal as possible. Just the lower risk saves. Like you might, the ball might come back in, but at least the ball is no longer in front of the goal. And so I appreciated seeing that difference as well because that was a frustrating one for their second goal to see it kind of just him lose possession of it and it just kind of be pretty calmly slotted in. That happens. It happens to every keeper, especially when you're younger and you're still learning. But it was nice to see like a better positioning and just fewer that didn't happen.
Yeah, and my bad. The other thing on Saturday that impressed me, well, a lot of things impressed me because we won and it's a clean sheet. Marcelo Lodge, like a lot can be said about the defensive fatalities that we've had this year. I think one of the most important things that we saw on Saturday was the willingness, and it's kind of like a chain reaction thing. Like if you have one person going all out defensively, it kind of can spread throughout the team. And like Marcelo won a couple of headers, and then you start seeing Cloudy win a couple of headers, and then Griffin, and then Niels, and it kind of just builds throughout the team, like defensively. Dak as well, and like it's been a while. I wouldn't say a while. Well, no, it has been a while. It's been a while since the Kickers have had a center back that is comfortable in the air, that can not only win headers but can also redirect them and out of pressure situation to where it's like it's going out of bounds and then One Knox has to restart their attack again, or it's going straight back across the halfway line to where One Knox has to recycle the ball and get it back going again. So yeah, I think that was present. And then the other thing too is I'm going to ask you guys about this. We saw Darwin Espinal play more essentially, almost like as a midfielder with Neil Sorford. How do we like that? Do we think that's in this structure that Darren has the team set up in now with the 3-back or really a 5-back? How do we like that structure of having Darwin centrally and being closer towards Emmy and Niels and build up?
It's fine. Like, he can obviously do the job, right? He's good, with the ball, at his feet. He's good in tight spaces. We've seen that earlier in the year when he's been able to run at players and really be able to take them on with dribbles and do so successfully. So the skill set's there, and I think with the personnel that was out there, specifically on Saturday, it made sense for him to do that. Like, Kirkland's not a guy you're going to want to drop back there. Kirkland needs to be higher up the field to be able to provide that vertical threat a little bit more, because otherwise, and we've seen in some other games, we get all the dribbly boys together and teams can just collapse on us because nobody's going to be able to run by them otherwise. But so dropping Darwin back, I mean, all things being equal, I'd love for him to be closer to goal, because I think he's this stage and everybody's season and careers probably our best actual finisher. So always like to have somebody with that trait to be closer to goal and the further if possible, but he can do the job, and so I don't have a massive issue with it.
Yeah, agreed. Like, there's no one else who can do it. When you burn a bridge with a player like Neil Vinyals and then don't replace a player like Neil Vinyals, and all of a sudden you don't have a single player who can play attacking midfield in your entire squad, you are left with a personnel problem where you don't have someone naturally comfortable in the center of the field. Actually, I guess like Emmy's role has transitioned him closer to that now that he doesn't quite have the legs that he used to. The sort of Harry Kane dropping back, like using your skill set to like play make rather than be at the end of those balls. But I mean, it's a hole in the team. There isn't another player who can play that role. And unfortunately, Darwin is a better player in a different position. So you are, by not having any players in that role, especially possibly the best player in the league in that role, you are forced to now have a very good player not play their natural position and possibly not, be as effective as he could in his natural position. And then you're also left with players like Simon Fitch and Beckett Howell being your creative outlets on the midfield, which is also not necessarily maximizing their strengths. So, I mean, I think it's a little bit of a self-manufactured problem in terms of squad construction. And so now, they have been having to experiment because that position was not replaced. Yeah. And
I think with if they stay with this shape, it's not really like a perfect corollary to the way the team has been playing for the last few years. But I think you could have a Darwin there. I think Bill Hart fits really well right there, probably better than out on the wing. Honestly, depending on the other configuration, like you can slide Niels up the field a little bit further into that spot if you wanted to have a kind of Dak Chandler sort of combo, or Dak Vaughn sort of combo in there at a certain point. So I think there's guys who can be able to do it, but in that spot, I think you're kind of asking Darwin to play a little bit more of a high, a little bit like you're saying with like a Kane type role, except a little more on the midfield side of the hybrid. than the forward side of the hybrid. But again, I think the big question with all of this is, are these guys going to be able to put a string of games together?
Right. Because I mean, it was kind of a new setup. So now everyone else knows you're going to do it. If the other team's like set up to neutralize Darwin in the midfield, and now we are relying on Beckett Howell and Simon Fitch to be our creative outlets. They're good players, but I wouldn't necessarily say those are their strengths.
Well, I mean, to me, and I could be totally wrong on this, but when you set up in like a 3-5-2, I think you're more or less saying like the strength of how we're going to create our play is in the middle, right? Because that's where the bulk of the players are, because you're very thin out on the wings. So if Darren is looking at it, it's like, okay, right now, based on availability, injury, because that's another thing as well. Like, not excusing how Darren has set up the team tactically or anything like that, but like, you can only play with the cards that are dealt, and with the injuries being like the 3-5-2 probably suits the team 100% better just because of what you have available to you. And if I could have Darwin to play more centrally, Emmy to be paired with Josh Kirkland, so allow Kirkland to do the hard running, because that's what like that was another thing that on Saturday kind of stood out to me is like Kirkland is doing the running for Emmy, and then it's great pockets where Emmy he can collect the ball, he can kind of drift out wide, he can stay centrally and whatnot. And then also like my fault, I know I'm kind of being scatterbrained with this, but correct me if I'm wrong, but this is what only the third, maybe fourth game we've had with Darwin, Emmy, and Bill Hart. So it's still like, I mean, and well, I don't know practice time, but like they're still learning. Like, okay, where how did this fit? How did this fit? How did that fit? Where like the other these guys like Simon Fitch, Dak, they know where each other fits and they know kind of where to go. So if I could get Darwin to, kind of execute this to be kind of that, like you said, Kate, like to be that hybrid inside forward, and then have Emmy kind of be that other hybrid inside forward and allow Kirkland just to push that back line back and be that release valve where if we got to go long, Kirkland can get it on top of it. If I got to go short, I know I got Emmy and Darwin right there who can play in those little pockets of space. To be honest, like, it's something that can work. Now the thing is when everyone's healthy, and this team will get healthy because they have 10 days off and you don't have to play another game until September 3rd, how does he line up against Westchester? And does he revert back to the tried and true 4-3-3, putting Kirkland out on the wing, Emmy up top, Darwin out on the left, and a midfield that's kind of miscombobulated? Or did he stick with this, which has worked so far, this 3-5-2? Because we've seen hints of it, and when you've gone to it, the team looks a lot more cohesive. Like, at this point, like, I don't want to see a 4-3-3 again. I don't want to see you go back to that because it hasn't worked. All right, like it has not given you the effective results that you wanted. Unlike this 3-back where you get the best out of all three of your center backs, maybe outside of one, but you get the best out of the center backs you have, and the team looks a lot more cohesive for it. Yeah.
Can I say one other thing about personnel that we've seen in the last two matches?
Yeah.
Outside of our tried and true, they've all been adults. They haven't been, we haven't been seeing obligatory 18-year-old cameo appearances from academy players, but we actually have the senior players who are being paid to be here actually go out and play, which has been a refreshing.
Richmond's the only guy who was an academy guy who got any minutes, and that he was not the problem. Like there's been other games where like even the academy 1.0 guys were all plopped on the bench, and all the old guys crap the bed on the field. So I don't think that's fair. Like Griffith's had some trouble at time this year. I think Beckett's been fine, if not interesting, a lot of times, which I think for a defender is perfectly okay. James is
like for defender. If we're not calling your name out, you've done a good job.
Yeah.
Well, and he's
like
also gotten more rest this year, which as a teenager he needs. Like it's not necessarily great for a 17-year-old to be playing 90 minutes twice a week for an entire summer. So he's probably
he's 19 now. I think we can.
Well, no, last year when he was like still a child and literally playing full 90s.
Hey,
the
Virginia
entire
child
summer,
labor laws.
Yeah,
probably
exactly.
are no longer a thing anymore, given this governor.
I'm more just saying like, yeah, the guys that we were calling the young guys before, like they're the age of professionals in the sport all over the country and the world now. Like, I don't think we need to lean on that crutch as reasoning or rationale for why something may be going right or wrong.
Well, I will say I did think it was Darren that he brought it up as a like I don't know, he used it in that post-game press conference in the 2-0 loss that where he said, I don't know how many professional teams anywhere can say that they have 3 teenagers on the field. And again, like it feels like
that's nice. I mean, he can say,
I don't think that's it's like it's not necessarily, I mean, it's like okay, you did, but like you also lost the game. So like I don't know why having like you guys should be getting claps for like using those young players when like you're not seeing results from it. Cause like it was just interesting to hear him bring that up, say like I don't know how many teams like in the country can say that they have 3 teenagers on the field, and it's like, well, yeah, because most have like a team of adults who are like good enough to get results and like don't need to like be dipping into like their youth academy because like I guess they're the adult players they have under contract like can't perform. So it just was interesting to hear him say that as though that's like something that we're supposed to say, oh, like, yeah, we might have lost, but at least we had 3 teenagers on the field. Like it kind of felt irrelevant to the point where it does feel like, well, if you're going to be bringing it up as something we should be factoring in, like I don't think that should be a factor. You've told us they're the best guys for the job, so their age according to you is irrelevant. If you're good enough, you're old enough. So now you want to also bring it up like in the context of losses of like, well, look at this like great thing that we're doing that at least we can point to. And I don't think you should be pointing to that when after this string of results that like you should be getting credit for that.
That's also a thing all coaches do that I've realized is like whatever works for them, they'll be like, hey, this really worked. And then when, things are teetering, things are bad, they'll be like, this is what's hindering us. But also, like, we could also be like Madison. Well, we cannot be like Madison.
It's not.
Be like Madison and pay a bunch of money for a bunch of adults and still suck. So, like,
at least the play. At least ours.
Did you see their Packers jerseys though? But guys,
why did they also make?
Did you see their sunset jerseys or whatever the hell that was?
The ones with the feathers on it, that's orange. Like, can we get a color match on a flamingo here? Like, why are we making them orange?
It was bad.
Why don't you understand, Kate? Why don't you get it?
Yeah,
it's actually very subversive for a team's colors who are blue and pink to play in an orange jersey.
You know what? Money. That's why you sell your soul for merchandise. It is what it is. But yeah, I mean,
line your owner's pocket.
Yeah, it is not. Does this win solve everything? No. Does it make going into this break a lot more bearable and easy? Yes. And it's a new start. So when the Kickers come back September 3rd on a Wednesday, let me see. I believe that game is at what time? Let me see. Hold on. 7 p.m. on a Wednesday night. How does Darren line this team up? And what does Darren need to do? Not only Darren, but what does Darren and the team, because part of this is on the team as well, need to do to ensure that the Kickers keep this momentum going and get another 3 points and get to Westchester Soccer Club up in New York.
So as we speak right now, Westchester is down 3-2 to Portland at halftime.
Yeah.
I think, looking back at the other 2 times we played Westchester, objective 1 is don't get in your own way.
Yeah. That's a big thing.
I like this model that we use on Saturday. Like, be responsible. Keep the ball out of our own net because Westchester is going to screw something up. They're going to give away chances,
Mhm.
even to a team like us that might not be actively looking to break a record for shots on target in the game. Right now they're at 42 goals allowed for the season. That's most in the league. We're going to get our chances throughout. So I would say nothing dumb, nothing reckless. Let's roll that 5 in the back again, even if it's the defensive version 5 in the back with Beckett and Simon on the outsides. Do that, make them prove they can break it down, and you're going to get the opportunity for a Darwin, a Kirkland, whomever to get open play opportunities. We'll probably get a chance for some of the big boys to convert off of a free kick. It'll come. Like Westchester doesn't seem like a good bet to keep a clean sheet. So let's bet on our guys putting up another one.
Yeah. Okay, anything on for you? Any thoughts?
Yeah, I think one of the areas of frustration has felt like tactical inflexibility, where like if something works, it's like, all right, we're just like going to do the exact same thing again, when I think other teams have, not saying Westchester in particular, they're at the bottom of the table for a reason. But expecting to run the exact same game plan and get the exact same result is not the best we should expect. We should expect tweaks to what we saw against Knoxville, whether that's personnel, in one or two places. I would rather not see the exact same lineup again and see us lose, because it worked last time. Like that's more the frustration.
So what do you want to see then?
Well, I have not scouted Westchester extremely deeply, but I think that we had the element of surprise against Knoxville in that they had just played us on Wednesday. They had just beaten us on Wednesday. So there was truly nothing to lose. There was also the same thing that happened against Spokane, where it was a complete roll of the dice. This is a good team to have your next match against because they are about as bad of an opponent as we can expect. But we've already rolled the dice. We are also not much better than Westchester is, so they're going to be looking at us the exact same way. If we're looking for wins anywhere, it's going to be the teams against us in the table. Knoxville, again, against Knoxville, there was the element of surprise. They also rotated, as Darren said, they rotated and had some of their bench players start on Saturday that they did not have, that they had start on Wednesday. Darren said in the post-game press conference that every guy they brought on as a substitute improved their team. So that's, correlates with how tight that last 30 was because they were bringing on players of higher quality. So I think there were several factors that came together that made our conditions for winning that game on Saturday a higher probability than they would be, all things being equal. So I just hope that whatever the tactical setup takes those unique factors against Knoxville into effect and is not just, all right, that worked, do it again. Does that make sense?
I hear what you're saying.
There were a few advantages on Saturday.
Would you? Okay, I hear what you're saying. I'm not disagreeing with you because you don't want to see them just be like, take this and do this, right? Because you got to be able to change the pace of your playing. I feel like there's a fine balance between what both of you are saying. I think you can take the formation and, like what Matt said, you can go more attacking, right? So if that's instead of Beckett, play Maxey out on the left side, right? Let's say, I'm trying to think. Maybe, and maybe I'm wrong in this, move Dak back down to center back.
And who are you dropping from the back line? They just threw a clean sheet against a good team.
No. I'm not saying I'm not anything crazy. I'm just saying, like, okay, I'm trying to think of this in my head.
I'm not saying I have the answer. I'm just saying that I hope that there is slightly more tactical sophistication than do the exact same thing with the exact same players again against a different opponent. Like, I hope that we see the what we saw against Knoxville adjusted to Westchester, not just what we did against Knoxville.
You want to see a buildup of it,
I just don't. I'm just tired of Darren's insistence on always this worked, so we're going to do it again, or I want to play this way, so we're going to keep playing this way, regardless of whether
we haven't seen anything work in 4 months. I mean, can't really
throw
that bone at them.
So I hope nothing has worked, and so
so something works, so maybe we should plug into it.
I'm the
other way. I don't want to see him go back to the 4-3-3.
No,
I swear, if that man rolls out that 4-3-3,
what I'm saying doesn't make sense. I just we can't actually just do the exact same game plan on paper again. You have to adapt it to your opponent, and I hope that we see a level of adapting to the opponent.
Yeah,
not just the exact same game plan, because that game was on a knife edge. One thing doesn't go our way, and that's a draw. It wasn't a cool, calm, and composed, easy 90 minutes. We've needed that. We've needed a few things to go our way, but on any day of the week, something doesn't go your way, that's not a win. So you have to hope that there's some level of cushion built into the game plan that's not, okay, that worked, we're going to do the exact same thing again. Yeah. And if it doesn't work, well, you guys just aren't being supportive enough or whatever.
I mean, in fairness, that's how most 1-0s are, especially with what you had 4 combined shots on target for both teams. Yeah.
I mean, it was a gritty, well-disciplined performance, but that's not always replicable, especially with a handful of circumstances being different. Westchester also sees this as a winnable game. This is also going to, it would 4-4 again, at back at City Stadium. They're looking at us they're going to leak goals. They're going to, they're going to attempt to go for it.
We've had more shutouts in August than they've had in their existence. It's their first year. But you know how many shutouts they've had against professional teams?
No, I mean,
one with an asterisk, because that was Spokane when Spokane.
Oh, that's true.
Had a forfeit.
Yeah,
the only other one was an open cup
I think
game.
that last win is in June? Yeah,
that real win?
Yeah. Last win
hold on, I had it up here a second ago.
Yeah. And not awarded win either, their last real win.
Yeah, on the field win. Yeah. They beat Madison at Madison in the middle of June.
Yeah. So, I mean, and Matt, you're right. I don't want to screw up with the defense too much. I think if you want to go more attacking, I think it does involve Maxey. I do want to see, I will say this though. I do want to see the partnership between Emmy and Kirkland stay in jail, because I think there is something there. Right? I want to see that. Darwin and Niels, they're 2 intelligent players that they can figure out how to work with each other. Dak can do a great job of cleaning up with Marcelo. I think the real wild card is this, and the reason why I was willing to put Dak into the back line is Clyde. And I love Clyde. He's just a wild card. He's a very aggressive tackler. And my fear, and y'all know who I'm about to pull up, is Juan Obregon for Westchester, how he is just a magnet for pins. He's in that realm of what Emmy was in 2020, 2021, 2022, where he can just fall and it's a pin. He can breathe wrong and get a pin. And my fear is that Clyde's in a one-on-one situation where he's forced to make a tackle and it's a pin.
Clyde and Marcelo have both given up penalties now, which is perfect for your center back. And Griffin's been sent off, so we really got a little trio there.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see.
One interesting thing, though, so Nicole sat with Matt Boldock for the entire match on Wednesday because she has a concussion and was not allowed to sit in Section O. And he did say that one of the biggest things in the defense right now is there's not a lot of talkers. It's an overall quieter bunch. And that also has an impact on backline chemistry. James is doing his best, but he's, on the less experienced side of things. Dak he is described more as a leader by action than voice. So there's definitely the opportunity to keep building sort of like organizational chemistry along the back line. Matt said that James Vaughn is basically the person who yells the loudest and most consistently when he is on the field. He's kind of like the main vocal presence, but he obviously isn't on the field quite as much. So there is a growth opportunity there, and that could be part of why the defense has looked less organized and with less chemistry, is because right now there isn't necessarily a vocal leader among that group. And it's also changing a lot. You brought multiple defensive new guys in. You've got several teenagers on the back line. Like, that's kind of a perfect storm for maybe not having someone who's there like screaming for the entire 90 minutes. But an opportunity for growth that could correlate to greater defensive organization if someone were to step into that role.
And the thing is, like, I'm trying to teach my players now is like, you don't always need a screamer. You just need someone who can read, communicate, and get it out quick. Because I'm pretty sure like a lot of these guys can read the game, but they can't, like, from reading it and then communicating it in an effective way is always tough, But yeah, like we, much like the Kickers, we got a break coming up. So what we got? What's the basic holiday? Oh, Labor Day. Yeah, enjoy Labor Day weekend. The Kickers play on the 3rd, and then they get like another little break because they don't play again until the 13th, where me and Matt will be at Madison, holding it down, making sure that the Kickers come back with a win. And they don't have another home game until the 17th. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the 17th.
Against Portland.
Wow. That is insane. Yeah. And then the September 6th game is a U20 game. I think that's the game they want people to come out to. Which, by the way, we need to talk about this as well. Season ticket stuff went out. And let me just say, people, as I've been telling y'all, it is okay to be annoyed. It is okay to say what you want. Let me phrase this. Not say what you want, but it is okay to be disgruntled and put that in an email in a season ticket and let them know, because like the one staying power you have is your finances. And if a bunch of people have done it where they said like, I'm not happy about what's going on. I will say this, unlike some other supporters group that are just complaining about bad 2 months or, one game result, we've been at this for the better part of 2.5 years. And it's okay, once again, to be annoyed and let them know, because they're listening. And we'll see where it goes. I think there are talks about having an end of the season roundtable and some action plan items. So we'll see about that. But yeah, it was kind of cool. And also, last but not least, it was an honor to see like the '95 U.S. Open Cup team there. That was pretty cool to see them there. If you want to watch the whole video, it's up on our Instagram page. I might as well put it up on our YouTube as well. But of them introducing the team, and it was also cool as well because I was walking with Rob and them back up to the press box, and I heard the side conversation. Rob was like, he was getting goosebumps about hearing about, like the teams that it beat, the run, and everything like that, which is kind of cool. Because I know we all joke about it, but like, the one thing this club hangs his hat on is the '95 U.S. Open Cup win and whatnot. But to say like you're one of the few teams in lower league, or the only team in lower league soccer history to do that is still around, it's always cool.
Yeah, it was cool. Didn't like that all the guys looked old now because reasons. Yeah, go with that. But no, it was cool. Like, not a lot of them were able to be there because obviously they have their own lives and schedules,
Yeah,
and everything. But seeing a guy like Cameron come back, kind of wish MC Danny had hyped him up a little bit. More like it was not an upset for us to beat Fairfax Spartans or whatever the hell their name was.
yeah.
Stopped them twice. The other ones, okay, maybe were technical upsets, but yeah, I mean they kind of walked through A-League teams that had guys that were national team players at that time. Like again, this is before MLS, so they had some of those guys playing at that level, and those games are fun. So nice to see at least a few of the guys, and even before the game, Elliot, I saw you got a picture of it, but saw the one actual like vintage '95 jersey. I saw the kid, I was like, yeah, that's got to be John Hall's kid because dude looks like an absolute like carbon copy of his dad, just obviously much younger.
Right. And the thing is, like, I remember the Kickers tried to make a replica of it and how it came with like dark red instead of that like this red. And to see that up close in person, also I didn't know that jersey was designed by Lotto. If there's any way I can get that jersey remade, or the club is willing to remake that jersey properly, I will buy it with the Arby's logo and all of that. Oh my god, I will buy it. Like I told him, I told his son, I was like, if you ever sell that jersey, just know you are paying for your college tuition for the next 4 years. Like someone is buying that and paying good money for it. And the thing is, it still looks like it's in good condition. Like the numbers are a little faded, but like it is still in good condition. It's like still a nice kid and everything. Yeah. And I think I heard Sam ask about like where is the trophy. If nobody knows the trophy, my belief is in. Well, we know he's in Argentina. I think he's being used as a doorstop. But
this is all rumor and conjecture right now.
But Rob Ukrop did promise to send us all there on the club's dime to look for it National Treasure style. So everyone, clear your calendar. Red Army group trip to Argentina. We're going to stay at Zaka's house. It's going to be great.
Just 20 of us go down there to Argentina and be like, why are y'all here? Oh, we're looking for the U.S. Open Cup trophy.
We're following a series of clues.
That's about it. Yeah, that would be fun. So once again, I think that's everything. Anything else from y'all two that I might have forgot?
No, I mean, like again, this is right exact same time last year that momentum started, to be able to build. So hey, we can follow the pattern. The schedule lines up pretty nicely. Couldn't ask for much better. I mean, okay, maybe home games, but you got Westchester, then you got Madison, then you got Portland. I know there's a Tormenta somewhere in there. Yeah, yes, I know it just happened last week there, but still, like all things considered, it's probably the type of teams that you want to see coming up on your schedule. Like there's a Texoma in there somewhere along the way. Like it can happen. Like not a lot of wiggle room, but it can happen.
Right. And I will say this just to add to that point before we wrap up. We only play currently right now 2 top 5 teams in the table, and both of them are at home. That's Charlotte and One Knox. So yeah, man, like you said, it can happen because you play a lot of teams that are around you or close to that playoff line. If things line up properly, Darren once again is going to pull a genie out the bottle, and we are, we're going to be fine with it. That's the way it goes. But as always, folks, we just want to say thank you for taking time out of your day for listening to our show. Because without you, we couldn't do this. We wouldn't want to do this, and we appreciate all of you guys for listening to our show, as always. So with that being said, if you can, make sure you go to rivercity93.com, like, share, and subscribe. If you're willing to donate, do that as well. And for everyone here, especially to have Kate back on the show, it's great to have her back. We'll holler at you guys soonish.
At some point in the future.
Yeah, next time the Kickers play, you'll probably hear from us. But that being said, enjoy Labor Day weekend. Be safe. Enjoy your time with your family. Get away from the Soccers and breathe. So we'll see you guys next time. Be easy and be safe.